Welcome to the journaling mini course. Before we start, I want to congratulate you for taking the first step in realizing that you need to take your time and invest it into yourself for your personal growth. I will tell you this before we dive in. If you invest your time, money, energy, and everything that you have into being the best version of yourself, your life will only get better from here on out. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, I want to learn how to journal, but I'm kind of curious, what's this whole journaling thing all about? Why would I want to learn how to journal? And I'll tell you this, when I first started journaling 12 years ago, I thought that it was kind of like Dear Diary, like I'd sit down and say, Dear Diary, that type of stuff. Today, this is what happened, this is what I want, this is the way I'm thinking about this, and it became very hard for me to journal. I feel like I ran out of stuff to talk about. And then I kind of developed a little bit of a strategy that helped me journal every single day. And for the past 10 years, I've been refining the technique, changing it around, making it better. And that's what I want to teach you today. So before we dive in, I will tell you this. You're going to need your journal and a paper, and a pen with you in order to go through this and in order to take as many notes as you possibly can. I will tell you this, pretty soon you're going to be getting an email from me, and that is actually going to have even more information on how to journal and to help you get better. So you're going to want to make sure that you have that and you download the information that I give you. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do I want to learn how to journal? The biggest thing that I say journaling does is it creates extreme self-awareness. Now, you might be sitting there and thinking to yourself, I'm already pretty self-aware. I'm with myself all day, every day. I know about myself. And I would agree with that. On a surface level, most people know about themselves. But on a deep psychological level, do you really know why you do what you do? Do you know why you have the patterns and habits that you have? Where they came from, when you created them, and how to get rid of them? Because if you're not where you want to be right now, the reason why is because you are holding yourself back. So then you ask yourself, how am I holding myself back? And this is where journaling really starts to help. You start to learn how you're holding yourself back. You ask yourself, what do I need to do to get past that? And then you make a plan of exactly how to get past that. So the reason why you want to journal is because it helps with extreme self-awareness. The better that you know yourself, the easier it is for you to grow, and the easier it is for you to make a plan to get from where you are right now to where you want to be in life. Now, a lot of people ask me, is the morning the best time to journal? It's up to you. For me, I feel like it is. I feel like my creative brain is usually running really well in the morning, and then towards the end of the night, it's not usually running as high. So it depends. It's different for every person. I prefer to meditate, and then right after meditating, I journal. You might be the same as well. I wake up in the morning, I have a glass of water, I meditate for 30, 45 minutes, and then I journal. For you, it might be that you do the exact same thing. Or it might be better for you towards the end of the night when things start to wind down. You might be better at journaling at that point in time. When you do it doesn't really matter. Whenever is best for you is when you should do it. As long as you get it done, preferably every day, that's when you'll see massive results in your life. So when? The answer would be whatever is best for you. Now, let me teach you exactly how to journal. And I'll give you the step-by-step of how to journal. Well, first off, you're going to need a pen and paper. What I recommend is that you get a high-quality journal, something that's nice, something that's, it could be for you, it could be a beautiful one. For me, I remember my first journals were leather because I thought to myself, if I invest in a nice leather journal, it's going to make me want to use it more. It wasn't just, a spiral paper inside of a notebook. It was a nice journal. And for some reason, that nice journal made me want to journal more. Now, if money is tight for you, I don't think that you should go and save up all of your money for a really nice journal. As long as you do it, that's all that matters. But in my personal opinion, if you do have $15, $20 to spend, you can go and get a Moleskine journal. You can go get a nice journal and actually use it and have it be something that you're proud to bring along with you everywhere. That's what I think is important. So you obviously need to have a pen and paper. And like I said, I used to sit down and just kind of put my thoughts onto a piece of paper, and that's great. But what I found is that I started running out of things to talk about. And so I asked myself, how can I find something more? How can I get deeper? And what I realized is that psychoanalysts, which is a profession, they're a type of therapists, the way that they work is by asking questions to their clients. So the client will sit there and they'll ask them questions. And then what happens is the clients are then forced to answer the questions. So the psychoanalyst will never give the answer. They will make their clients come up with the answer. And the reason why is because when you are asked a question, if somebody tells you something, the chance of you remembering it is very, very small. But if somebody asks you a question and you then are forced to find the answer, you going and finding that answer means that you are 10 times more likely to remember finding that answer than if someone were to just tell you something. And so when you sit there and you ask yourself questions and your brain starts to go and the wheels start to turn, you're actually making new neurological pathways in your brain. Once a neurological pathway is made, it will never disappear. And so if you really want to get good at remembering stuff, if you really want to get good at journaling and finding the answers and changing patterns and habits about yourself, ask yourself questions and then force yourself to find the answers. Now, the reason why is because our brains are problem-solving mechanisms. If we were walking around 50,000 years ago and we were cavemen and there was a rustling in a bush, your brain would immediately go to that and try to see everything. That bush is rustling. Is there any other bushes? Is there anything in there? Is there a lion in there? It's trying to solve the problem of the rustling bush because it's trying to keep you alive. So if you think about it that way, it's a problem-solving mechanism. Any question that you ask your brain will automatically want to answer. And if you can find the answers to your questions, that's where you really start to see change in your life. That's where you really start to make big strides because you start to learn about yourself in ways that you never thought. Now, if you check your email, like I said, you'll be getting a list of questions that I think are the best questions to start on. These are what I call level 1 questions, okay? Level 1 is sitting down and asking yourself questions. It could be questions, if you start looking through the email, it's something like, how am I holding myself back? What habits do I need to create? What habits do I need to break? You can ask yourself any question that you want to. What do I want in my life? What do I want in my relationships? What do I want in my career? What do I want in my bank account? Where do I want to travel to? What do I want in my spirituality? There's so many different things that you could work through and start to figure out about yourself. And that's why I think it's very important for you to look at this email and go through and start to force yourself to answer these questions. This is kind of just like a jump start. These are the level 1 questions. So you have your level 1 question, and then you answer it. And then, if you want to go deeper, you go into the level 2 question. Your level 2 questions are a set of 6 different questions. Who, what, why, when, where, how. Who, what, why, when, where, how. So let me give you an example of how you would use these. And you can't use these on every single one of the examples, but let's say that the question that you ask yourself, your level 1 question is, how do I hold myself back the most? That's your level 1 question. Your level 1 answer would be, I don't wake up early enough, right? That might be the way that you hold yourself back the most. Then you would bring in your level 2 questions. Who, what, why, when, where, how. How can I start waking up earlier? When would be the best time for me to wake up? How can I have other people help me in this? Who would be able to help me? Maybe you have a roommate that wakes up earlier than you. Maybe you have a spouse that wakes up earlier than you. So you have your level 1 question, which is the list of questions I sent over to you. You find your level 1 answer, and then what you do is you go level 2 and see if you can take these who, what, why, when, where, and how questions to go even deeper and to start to find out about yourself. And so what you would do is you start to find out deep psychological things. Why do I not wake up? How can I really improve myself? Why do I not wake up? What do I need to do to play at a level 10? And you start to have these questions, and then after the questions, you get your answers and you go deeper. And what you'll start to notice is, man, I thought I knew a lot about myself, but I really just knew a lot about myself on a surface level. that was level 1. And then you go level 2. And then if you want to go even deeper, level 3, level 4, and you keep on going with who, what, why, when, where, how. And these are just ways to start to stir up the ways to think about what's going on. And obviously it's different for every single person that will be watching this video, but for you, you already know the best questions to ask yourself. When you're looking at your answer, you can ask yourself even deeper things. You can say, man, where did this habit develop? Why do I always self-sabotage? Did I ever watch my parents self-sabotage? Do I not feel like I'm worthy enough for success because of the way that I was treated in school or the way that my parents treated me? And you start to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you start to become very self-aware of everything that you do. And then the best part about it is when you write it down with a pen and paper, you become self-aware and you start to notice the habits popping up. And people always ask, well, why do I need to do this with a pen and paper? What's the importance of using a pen and paper? The importance of using a pen and paper is this. There was a study done in the 70s, and it was at Harvard, and Harvard did a massive study on their entire graduating class. And they found out that only 3% of their graduating class wrote down their goals with a pen and paper. 10 years later, they followed up with every one of the people in the graduating class. And those 3% that wrote down their goals were more successful than the other 97%. Let me say that again. The 3% of people who wrote down their goals 10 years later were more successful than all of the other 97% combined. The reason why is because when something is written down, it is physical. It exists in your brain, and your brain sees it as something that is real. It's also easier to self-assess when you're writing something down than when you're just thinking about it. So it's very, very important for you to write down exactly what you want and what you want to get out of it, and to ask yourself questions and force yourself to answer them as if you were sitting in front of a psychoanalyst to start to get better at this. Now, I will tell you this, when you first start this technique, it's a little bit rusty. You've never done it before. It's just like anything else. If you've never played basketball before, you're not going to be amazing at it the first time that you do it. But if you play basketball every single day, you'll start to see improvements. That's exactly what you will see here as well. If you do this every single day and make it something that's a staple in your day, this will become very easy for you. It's a little bit rusty at first. It's kind of like moving through mud. But once you start getting used to it, you'll start flowing really easily. Another thing that I would do is this. I would journal on your pies every single week. You don't need to do this every single day, but here's a really good way for you to start and actually diving into your personal self, okay? PIES, P-I-E-S. That stands for physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. Physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. What I want you to do is to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being terrible, you're terrible at this. 10 being you could not improve no matter what happened, you're absolutely elite, you're the best at this in the world. 1 to 10. And you'd go through and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would I rate myself physically? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would I rate myself intellectually? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would I rate myself emotionally? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would I rate myself spiritually? And here's what you do. You go, all right, let's say I would rate myself a 7 on physical. Well, let's bring in the who, what, why, when, where, how. Okay? What do I need to do in order to raise this number to a 9? Where do I need to work out? Where do I need to have my clothes in the morning to make sure that I wake up on time and go to the gym? Who could be my workout partner? Right? So you start to say, okay, I'm at a 7 right now, but I want to get it to a 9. What would the difference between 7 and 9 look like? And you start to fill in the gap, right? So each week, P-I-E-S, and you go deep into them, give yourself a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, and then what you do is you then ask yourself who, what, why, when, where, how, and see if you can go deeper into how you improve at this. Say you're a 7 at physical, you want to get to a 9. What would you need to do to close that gap? And that's what you're trying to figure out. You're going to do this every week, and here's the reason why. I'm going to give you a technique that I actually learned from Puff Daddy. There was a show that used to be on MTV back in the day, And he used to do this thing when he was with, I think it was like called Making a Band or something like that. And he would do something called stop, start, and continue. Stop, start, continue. What do I need to stop doing? This is what you're going to do every single week. In my physical world, what do I need to stop doing? Maybe I need to stop eating pizza once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is, right? What do I need to stop doing? What's the number one thing I need to stop doing? What do I need to start doing? Oh man, I need to start waking up earlier and going to the gym. And what do I need to continue doing? What am I doing well right now that I need to make sure I don't forget? You do this every single week. You rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on your physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. And then you look back and you look forward. Stop, start, continue. What do I need to stop doing intellectually? Maybe giving up on books before I finish them. What do I need to start doing intellectually? Man, I need to start meditating and journaling more in the mornings. What do I need to continue doing intellectually? I need to continue going to conferences and investing money into myself because that seems to be helping, right? So you go PIES, you give yourself a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, and you start asking yourself questions to improve yourself, and then you do stop, start, continue. You look back on how the last week went, you look forward on next week, and try to get better. And you do this every single week. And what will happen is you're not going to see massive improvements of your life right away. But if you do this, if you journal every single day and you journal on pies once a week, every single week, in 6 months, you're going to look back and be a completely different person. Because what happened is you become very self-aware of how you're getting in your own way, how you're not being successful, what you need to do to get to where you want to go. And things become very easy if you start doing that. So that is the secret to journaling. As long as you do it every single day and you do this pies every single week, you'll start to see massive improvements in your life. I promise you that. I'm so excited for you to start on this journey. Go get your first journal if you don't have one yet. Journal every single morning and continue to open the emails because I have more surprises that are going to be coming to you in the following weeks. I'll talk to you soon.